the late 90s, a former student of mine, I taught at the then University of Ife, named B. Bandele, left for London, and he wrote the stage adaptation for Things Fall Apart. And he asked me to direct it. And we subsequently toured both the UK and we toured the US as well. And it was here that Professor Achebe saw the production at the New Jersey Performing Arts Center. And we actually sat watching it together, and it was one of the most harrowing experiences of my life. I sat here, my wife here, thank God. His wife was here, and he was there. And I watched him as he watched the production, and his face was completely stoic. Not a smile, not an expression, nothing. So when the intermission came, I went outside with my wife, and I said, I'm dead. I've destroyed this man's work. My career is finished, it's over, right? And I had to go back inside after intermission and go through another hour or so of that torture, right? After the production, we did a talk back on stage. And I said, now I'm gonna be publicly mortified, right? And he sat there, I sat here, and there was a facilitator. And he said, well, Professor Achebe, you've now seen your work on stage, what do you think? And he said, I've seen a few attempts at this work, but today I saw what I wrote. Yeah. Then the facilitator looks at me and said, well, Chuck, what do you think? You've just heard from him about your work. What do you think? I took a deep breath. I said, we thank God. The production was full circle, for me. It marked a major return in my career to the US after decades of being away. And having been a part of the production in various parts of the world, the discussions which hold afterwards are always the same. It's how it has changed the perception that people have of Africa, and in particular Nigeria, which in my view is the greatest country on the earth. Yeah. Yeah, I know we have problems. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. And it's always a joy to be part of this presentation, and having done it in several places across the globe, I've never been so honored as I am this evening to be a part of this small excerpt from the show itself. He was a great man, truly great man. The African American Repertory Theater, who I'm privileged to work with this evening to prevent these small scenes. They're here from Richmond. I'd like to thank them before they come on. And they're going to provide a couple of scenes. The first, I'm sure everyone has read it here, deals with the events which lead up to the death of Ekemefuna. And the others explore the depth of the clash which occurred between Europe and Africa. I do hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
For 3 years, Ekemefuna lived in Okonkwo's household. Seems the men and the elders of Umofia have forgotten about the young boy. He had grown rapidly like a yam tendril in the rainy season. He was like an elder brother to Uwe. It seemed that he had kindled a fire in the boy. Okonkwo was very pleased at his young boy's growth and development, and he knew it was all due to Ekemefuna. One day, Elder Wefe Izudu came to pay a call to Okonkwo. He was the oldest member of the clan. He was a great and fearless warrior, and he had deserved a respect in all of the clan.
That boy calls you father. Do not bear a hand in his death.
I do not understand you, Ogwefi.
Umofia has decided to kill him. The Oracle of the Hills and Caves has pronounced it. They will take him outside of Umofia and kill him there, as is custom. But I want you to have nothing to do with it. He calls you father.
The next day, 9 elders of the nine villages of Umofia came to Okonkwo's home early in the morning. Before the men spoke in hushed tones, Uye and Ikini Fuma were sent out. The men did not speak for very long, and when they had gone, Okonkwo sat for a long time with his palms supporting his chin. Are you all right, Father?
Sit down. I have something to tell you.
Father,
You are to be taken home tomorrow.
Home? I have no other home. This is my home.
the next morning, the men returned with a pot of wine. They were dressed as if they were going to a big clan meeting, or perhaps to pay a visit to a neighboring village.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Kimifuna.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mother.
Goodbye, son. Will you come visiting us someday?
I will, if Adiamora permits.
Ikimifuna gabala nimba. Otugo mabone. Otugo nariana. Otugo mabone. Otugo nariana.
At the beginning of their journey, the men of Umofia talked and laughed about the locusts, about their women, and about some effeminate men who had refused to come with them. The sun rose slowly to the center of the sky, and the dry, sandy footway began to throw up the heat that lay buried in it. Some birds chirruped in the forest around. The men trod dry leaves on the sand. All else was silent. Then, from the distance, came the faint beating of the ekwe. It rose and fell with the wind, a peaceful dance from a distant clan.
It's an Ozo dance.
But no one was sure where it was coming from. Some said Azemale, or Abam, or Aninta. They argued for a while and then fell into silence again. But the elusive dance rose and fell with the wind. Somewhere, a man was taking a title of his clan with music and dancing and a great feast. The footway now became a line in the heart of the forest. The short trees and underbrush that surrounded the men's village now gave way to giant trees and climbers, which perhaps stood since the beginning of things, untouched by the axe and the bushfire. The sun, breaking through the leaves and the branches, threw a pattern of light and shadow across the sandy footway. Akemifuna heard a whisper close behind him and turned round sharply. The man who whispered now spoke aloud, urging the others to hurry up
still have a long way to go.
Thus, the men of Amorphia pursued their way, armed with sheathed machetes, and they came in Funa, carrying a pot of palm wine on his head, walked in their midst. Although he had felt uneasy at first, he was not afraid now.
Okonkwo walked behind him.
He could hardly imagine that Okonkwo was not his real father. He had never been fond of his real father, and after 3 years he had become very distant indeed. But his mother and his 3-year-old sister, of course she would not be 3 now, but 6. Would he recognize her now?
How his mother would weep with joy and thank Okonkwo for having looked after him so well and for bringing him back.
She would want to hear everything that had happened to him in all these years. He would tell her about Woge,
And his mother.
And about the wrestling match.
Then, quite suddenly, a thought came upon him. His mother might be dead.
he tried in vain to force the thought out of his mind.
Then he tried to settle the matter the way he used to settle matters when he was a little boy. He still remembered the song.
Ezelina ize, Ezelina ize, Ezeli kwaya, ikwaba obligoni, epetande nicheze, epezuzu netegu.
He sang it in his mind and walked to its beat. If the song ended on his right foot, his mother was still alive. If it ended on his left, she was dead. No, not dead, but ill. It ended on his right. He sang it again and it ended on his left. But the second time did not count. The first voice gets to God. That was a favorite saying of children. He felt like a child once more. One of the men behind cleared his throat, and Kimafuna looked back.
Why do you look back? Go on.
Father, they have killed me.
I find it hard to believe, Oberika, these things you tell me.
Did I tell you about Abigwefe, Uganda?
What about him?
Were you here when he took his Ozo title? Or he received another 3 years ago, but that is not what I want to tell you. What I want to tell you is he's joined the Christians.
No, he hasn't. Not a title, man.
He has, I tell you. He has cut the anklet of his titles and joined the Christians. The white missionaries were very proud of Abigwefe. He was the first of his people to take the sacrament of Holy Communion, or Holy Feast, as we call it in Igbo. He thought of it in the terms of drinking and eating. So he brought his horn, drinking horn, in his goatskin bag for the occasion.
Perhaps I have been away too long, but what has happened to our people that they have lost their power to fight?
Have you not heard how the white man wiped out Abam?
I have. But I have also heard that the men of Abam were weak and foolish. Why did they not fight back? Had they no guns and machetes? We would be cowards to compare ourselves to the men of Abam. Their fathers didn't dare stand before our ancestors. We must fight these men and drive them from the land.
It's too late. Our men and women have joined the ranks of the stranger. They have joined his religion. They have taken up helping his government. And perhaps we could try to drive them out. There are only 2. But what of our brothers who are following their way and have been giving power? They would go to Umura and bring soldiers, and we would be like Abam. I told you when I visited you last at Mbata how they hang Nato.
What has happened to that piece of land in dispute?
The white man's court decided it belonged to Nyama family. They have given much money to his messengers and interpreters.
Does the white man understand our customs about land?
How can he when he doesn't speak our tongue? But he says our customs are bad. And our men have joined their religion. And they say our customs are bad. And how do you think we can fight against them when our brothers are turned against us? The white man is very clever. He came and brought his religion, and we were amused by his foolishness and allowed him to stay. But now he has won our brothers. He has he's divided our clan, and he's put a knife against everything that held us together. And we have fallen apart. You say there is one supreme God that created heaven and earth. We believe in him too. We call him Chukwu. He made the world and the other gods.
There are no other gods. Chukwu is the only god, and all others are false. You carve a piece of wood like that one there, and call it a god. But it is still a piece of wood.
Yes, indeed it is a piece of wood. But the tree from which it came is messenger. Through it we can approach him. It is like you. You are the head of your church.
The head of my church is God himself.
I know. Yes. But there must be a head here in this world of men. Someone like yourself, head here.
The head of my church, in that sense, is in England,
That's
yes.
exactly what I am saying. The head of your church is in your country. And he sent you here as his messenger. And you have appointed messengers and servants. I'll give you another example. Your district commissioner, your king, sent him here.
They have a queen.
A queen?
Yeah.
A queen has sent her messenger, the district commissioner, here. And when he found he cannot do his work, he has appointed messengers and servants. It is the same with God, or Chukwu. When he finds that he cannot do all of his work, it is too much for one person.
You shouldn't think of him as a person. It is because you do so that you imagine he must need helpers. And the worst thing about it is that you give all the worship to these false gods, which you have created.
That's not so. No, we sacrifice to little gods, and when they fail us, then we go to our only source, Chukwu. It is good to do so. We approach a great man through his servants. And when his servants fail to help us, then we go to our only source of hope. When you are, we approach God, we fear the lesser gods, less than we fear their masters. So it is the same. And our fathers knew this. And that's why they named many of their children Chukuka. God is supreme.
You said one very interesting thing. You are afraid of Chukwu. Now, in my religion, Chukwu is a loving father and need not be feared by those who do his will.
But we must fear him when we are not doing his will. And who is to say his will? It is too great to know.